Make sure that you don't have anything here, any history. Make sure you go to delete, edit, delete all by type history. So make sure that your character has to be sitting on top of the grid. We want to make sure that our model is in a separate layer. Now if I have it on R, which means I can't really select the model, which is kind of what I want. Make sure you're in wireframe mode. Workspace to rigging. You go to skeleton, create joint. And let's create one maybe up here, all the way to the knee, up to the ankle bone here, the toes, and the toe tip. Go to display animation joint size. And you can change the size of these guys. Set my use. Want to move these guys just a little bit so that you always want to name joints when you're doing rigging. Oh, by the way, if you're not seeing your joints through your character, make sure that under shading you're seeing X-ray joints. Skeleton, create joint, and just click here. Press enter. What I'll do is I'll on the X-axis I'm going to set this to 0. And I'm going to select the top, the leg top, and then hold down shift, click on the hip and press P. Just click on this one, on the top one, and then go to skeleton, mirror joints, click on the options box, set this to mirror across YX, function behavior, and then for the names what we want to do is we want to search for L, just the what we named our joints for the left side, and then replace that with R, and then Maya is going to replace the names. So apply, and as you can see now we have them on the other side. And if you look at the naming, now this one's called R. Oops, actually for the naming it kind of messed it up, because around here and go to the actually start at the shoulder and then go to the elbow, at the wrist here. Let's go to the top view, see what this is looking like, and let's possibly start one of the fingers since we're here. Let's go on there, and there. Press enter. Press bent. One thing I can do is press Ctrl D from the top of these guys and then just move these guys. And for this one I don't need these guys, so I'm going to delete it. So now we have to go ahead and name these guys. Just place it around here, press enter. Let's go to the side view. Just move it a little bit forward. That's kind of where the clavicle should go. Select these guys and shift. Press P to parent it, and let's call this our left clavicle. So now what we'll do, we're going to create the spine for this guy. So let's go to click on this guy so you have it selected, then go to our side view, and let's go to skeleton, create joints, and let's see, let's start here. Let's do the neck and end it at the head. Press enter. Let's click this guy and then that. Press P. This guy and then that. And then press P. Select it from here, from the clavicle, and there we go. And then just double check that the names are correct. And what I'll do is I'm going to select all of these guys and then go to display, transform, display, local rotation axis, and this is going to show me the rotations for the local axis. And as you can see here, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that the y-axis points up on the local orientation, and the x-axis points towards the whatever joint's next to it. So like this one looks kind of good, so this one's pointing, the x is pointing down towards the next joint, and then the y-axis is pointing up. Instructions on how to install that, and then load it in the script editor. If you go to File, Open Script, and you can load that file, it's going to show up here where it says Comet Orient Joint. And then what you want to do is you're going to type this, so Comet Joint Orient, parentheses, then colon here, so exactly like this, and right click on it and click on Execute. That's going to show the it's going to open up this window, which is the actual script. So just follow the instructions. It comes with instructions on how to install it. So we want to select all our joints, so select them all again. Then we want to set our aim axis to X and up axis to Y. I'm going to set the world to 1 on the Y axis, and then let's just do the orient joints. And as you can see now, you also want to double check that they're good. So you want to fix this one, because this one should be pointing up. Right now it's pointing to the side, as you can see. So to fix that guy, I'm going to do it manually. So let's do it manually this time. Let's close that. Go to Skeleton Orient Joint Options box, and here I'm going to deselect Orient Children, go to this settings, because I want to make sure that the y-axis points that way and the x down. Let's do the same with this guy. Y-axis points forward, x down. Let's look at this guy here. Same thing, use the same settings. This looks fine. Okay, so those guys are good. For the top guys, I want to make sure that the axis is set to the y facing forward, x up. So I have my settings set up this way. So primary x, y, y, and y is negative. Then manually. So to do that, go to. So to do that, what I have to do is just rotate this guy. And let's do -180. So now we have the bottom. So, oops. Let's go to Skeleton Orient Joint. And I think I'll set this guy to Orient to Whirl, just to fix it. In the outliner, make sure you select all your joints. So make sure you expand all these guys so that you can select them all. And then select the joint and shift click on the mesh. So what I did is I changed back my mesh so that I can actually select it. So with that done, go to skin and then click on bind skin and our joints. So next we're going to create an IK handle. So now we have our handles named correctly so that we can know which one's which, and we know that they work correctly. Okay, so next thing we're going to create a control, or to create NURBS, curves, and let's just do a circle. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to snap this guy to our foot. So what I'm going to do is let me click on the visibility for my model and just make that disappear. And I'm going to enable, let's see, I think it's point snapping, which is this guy. So make sure this is selected, and we're going to drag this guy here so that it's go to control vertex. Then just shape this guy. It doesn't really matter what you shape it, but let me disable this. Like, you can shape this however you want. It's just to make it easier to select. So that should be good. Okay, So now we have that, and we want to do one more thing. We want to freeze transformations on this, so when you're not animating. So let's go to modify freeze transformations, select this guy and do the same thing. So now it's to select the joint, the controller, then click on the foot joint, the actual joint, not the IK. So click on the curves and then the foot joint. Let's go to constraint orient, but let's click on the options box. Just make sure that the maintain offset is on in offset, and then apply. It's all good now, guys. You can change the shape of this guy if you want. Like, it doesn't really matter, but the like you can do something like this. Once again, enable point snap to points, and then just snap this guy here. Let me enable back this guy, and all we have to do now is duplicate it and snap that to our other side, and make sure you freeze transformations again. That's super important. We have the left wrist controller, hold down control, then click on the IK for the left hand, and let's do the point orient first. So point orient, and now select the controller and shift click on the wrist joint, and let's do the orient constraint, making sure that our maintain offset is on. Apply that and close, and then this time let's use the create IK spline handle. So with that selected, let's click on the hip first, so this guy at the bottom, and then let's click all the way to this guy right here. There we go. So now we have that, and let's go ahead and name it. Now that we have that tested, as you can see too, if you in the outliner, when you created that spline IK, you also get a curve which is for our spine. So let's name that so if you hold down D on your keyboard, you can just kind of drag it up here, and let's make sure you enable the point snap to point. So hold down D and snap this. So now what we want to do is we want to select the hip controller, and then hold down shift, or just hold down control and click on the spine curve, and let's do a constraint point. So now what we want to do is we want to select the hip again, and then on the spine curve, and let's go to constraint orient options box. What we want to do is we want to set this to constraint on the X and Z axis only, so apply that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to open the go to window, general editor, then go to connection editor. So with this open, what we want to do is we want to click on the hip controller and click here where it says reload left, and then deselect that guy, and then click on the IK spine, and then click on reload right. What we want to do is we want to look here on the left, we want to look for rotate, so it's right here. Then on this side we want to look for roll, which is right here. So on the rotate, make sure you expand it, and then click on rotate Y, and then on roll. So now these guys are turned blue, and you can see here too under the channel box, the roll has a yellow mark, which shows us that there's now a connection. So now let's go ahead and make another curve. So let's go to create circle, and I want to snap this guy to I'll snap it to that guy right there. Let's name this guy chest controller. So now we want to connect this guy. So to do that, let's go ahead and open the connection editor one more time. So general editors, connection editor, and with the chest controller selected, reload left, and now let's select the IK spine and reload right. And let's look for rotate. Just right here. And we're going to click on rotate Y. And then on the right side, let's look for twist, which is right here. There we go. And now we can see here that there's a connection. I'm going to change the our hierarchy here. So we want the chest controller to be inside our hip controller. To do that, use the middle mouse click and drag and just place that guy in there inside the hip controller. So now, as you can see now, if I rotate my hip, the chest controller also rotates, which is pretty good, and this is what we want. And we're going to do the same thing with the hand controllers. We're going to get the hand controllers inside our chest. So let's drag that inside there. Let's do the same with the right wrist inside the chest controller, so that if we move the chest controller, the hands also come with it. Oops. Circle, and then just drag this guy up, and I want to get him here. Click on the snap to point. There we go. You want to select that and click on the head joint. Go to constraint, orient, options box. Let's make sure this is constraint all axis. Apply, and now as we can see, the head joint inside our chest controller so that it moves if you want to. So let's do that. Get this guy and drag it inside our chest. Cool. Nerves, circle. Let's scale this one up. And let's change the shape just a little bit. And this is our master controller. So basically this guy controls the entire thing. So let's go modify freeze transformations. So basically the master controller should have all your controllers inside of it. If you wanted to, go further and create controllers for the fingers, you can do the exact same thing. You can create controllers for these guys. Just do a orient constraint on these guys so that you can rotate the fingers. Just make sure you set your model so that we can actually select it here, and go to skin, paint skin weights, and then just click on the options box. Click on add for paint operation. Make sure you do that one. And you could, so if you click on flood, it's gonna flood the entire thing. So that means that, whoops. And this is one of the things that happens when you undo. So this is an example of, if you undo, it's going to pretty much mess up your joints. Go to skin. Let's see, it's unbind skin. There we go. Usually things go bad when you undo, so try not to undo. So we're going to click on add, and to increase the size of the painting thing here, hold down the B key, then just drag. So with add, I can just start to paint this guy in, and then we hide the geo and snap this to the knee. Let's move that guy forward like this. Going to rotate it by 90, and let's do freeze transformations. So with that knee selected, select that control, and then hold down control and select the IK left leg. So with that selected, go to constraint and click on pole vector. Cool. So what that does is it allows you to kind of rotate the knee, and we also want to parent the that to the foot control. So let's do that. Let's drag this into our foot, So now if we move this guy, it moves with it.